Welcome back to this video series where we're learning the Armenian alphabet with the help of the genealogy of Jesus. Make sure you have your piece of paper with all your notes, and let's go. So here's where we left off from part 2. These are the letters that we have. Hopefully they're matching with your notes. And let's proceed to the next slide. This time we're going to identify the Armenian letters without introducing any names, because I think the translation will be enough to figure out this new letter. So let us identify the Armenian letters, and for this last letter that we haven't seen so far, you can guess it from the translation, which is Shealtiel or Selathiel, from Matthew chapter 1 verse 12. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure of the pronunciation of this name in English, but that shouldn't be a problem. So pause the video and solve the problem, and I'll show the solution in 3, 2, 1. Saratiel. Saratiel. So as you can see, this letter here that looks like the Latin L is also an L in Armenian. So now you might be wondering, if we have an L in Armenian, how come in previous names, including this one, the L is converted to a R sound? For other names where we have the L sound, we use the letter Rad, which has a R sound. If you remember from the previous video, we also saw names such as Yeriazar, which in English is Eliezer, Razaros, which in English is Lazarus. So what's up with that? So originally in Armenian, there was two L sounds. One that we've already seen, which is Lyun, and the other is actually the letter Rad. If you look here, so this is the column for classical pronunciation. You can see here that the letter Rad, it was a voice dental L sound, which you can think of as a heavier L sound, maybe like the Russian L. However, over time, if you make this deep L sound and you move your tongue slightly, you will end up with a R sound, R. So the theory is, over time, this letter became a R sound. So back to this name, Saratiel. In this case, we have both. So maybe originally this would have been pronounced Salatiel. However, eventually that deep, heavy L, or the voice dental L, became a R sound. So Saratiel. So with that, let us proceed. Here's the new letter that we learned, Yun. Insert it into your table and let us proceed. So, as we already saw on the Wikipedia page, this letter is called Lyun. Here we have the three different pronunciations, classical and modern Eastern Reformed, and this gives us an L sound. I hope this one is pretty straightforward because it almost looks exactly the same as the Latin L. So with this new letter, let us see if we have unlocked any more new words in the Our Father prayer, in the Deru Naga Nagot. Okay, one word. Ail. Ail. From Ail Pergyazmez Ichare. In English is, but deliver us from evil. So, Ail means but. For the Hail Mary prayer, Bochun Kez Mariam, let us see if we've unlocked any more new words. Okay? Two new words, one of which is used twice. First one is li, which means full. In modern Armenian, for example, you usually hear the word letsun, which means full. So that would have the same root, li. So this phrase in Armenian, li shnorhok, in English would translate to full of grace. So li means full. Then we have the word ornial, which means blessed. So this phrase in Armenian, orniales tu iganais, would translate to blessed are you among women. So ornial means blessed. Again here, ornial means blessed as well. Yev orniale bedu vorovayni ko Jesus, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Now with the word ornial, sometimes you will hear it pronounced as ortnial, with a T sound. In this case, I'm not really sure about the history, but I'm guessing it's similar to the Rad history, where the difference between ornial and ortnial is very minimal when it comes to the movement of the mouth and the tongue. So probably what happened, some people started pronouncing it ortnial, and then eventually more people followed. And with that, let us proceed. So here are the letters that we have so far. Notice how the letter K, here in the bottom right corner, is a little bit shaded, and that's because we haven't actively used it. So let us solidify it in the next exercise. So here we have the name Akaz, Akaz, which translates to Ahaz, from Matthew 1, verse 9. Now how come in Armenian we're using a K sound for the H? I'm not sure. For example, in Arabic, this name is Ahaz, with a H sound, which we don't have in Armenian. Since both H and K are throat sounds, my guess, the use of the K letter here in Armenian would relate to that. The second name that we have is Hekonia. Hekonia, which translates to Jeconiah, is from Matthew 1, verse 11. So now let us identify the Armenian letters and guess this name. So pause the video and I'll show the solution in 3, 2, 1. Yenovk, Yenovk, which translates to Enoch. This is from the longer genealogy from Luke, chapter 3, verse 37. And now we've solidified the letter K. Let's solidify it some more by writing this following name from Jesus' lineage in Armenian letters, which translates to Akim, from Matthew 1, verse 14. So pause the video and I'll show the solution in 3, 2, 1. Akim, Akim. Now you might be wondering, how come in Armenian we're ending with the letter Nu, Akim, when in English, as well as other languages such as Arabic, the name ends with M, Akim, or in Arabic, Achim. The answer to that is I don't know. If someone knows the answer, I would love to see their answer in the comments. So let us proceed. So this letter is the letter K, which gives a K sound. Here we have the name Shushan, 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 which translates to Susanna. So this letter gives a sh sound, which is usually shown in English with an S and an H, or in French with a C and an H. So with that, let us identify the Armenian letters of this following name, which translates to Silas, which is one of St. Paul's companions. So pause the video and I'll show the solution in 3, 2, 1. Shira, Shira. And with that, we've unlocked this letter, which gives a sh sound. So write it down in your table so we can do the next exercise. Now write the name of this apostle in Armenian letters and guess the translation. For the V sound, I inserted the letter Hyun, because we don't really have a way to know whether we're going to be using a Viv or Hyun. So I just went ahead and inserted the Armenian letter for this letter. So now pause the video and I'll show the solution in 3, 2, 1. Shemavon, Shemavon, which translates to Simon, also known as Peter. Hopefully guessing the translation wasn't too tricky. Even though in Armenian, Shemavon, which translates to Simon, the more common way of writing this name is actually Simon, Simon, with the letter Se, as opposed to Shah. Or we also have Simavon, Simavon. So this letter is the letter Shah, which gives a sh sound. So these are the letters that we have learned, and now let us proceed to the Our Father prayer. Alright, let us see what new words we have unlocked in the Our Father. No new words. Continuing with the Hail Mary, we have one new word, Shnorhok, which means grace. So, as we've said before, Shnorhok means full of grace. And with that, we've reached the end of the third video. And as usual, let's ask the intercession of the Holy Translators to help us in learning this language and ultimately to grow in holiness. Amen.